Good afternoon and welcome to We Believe Digital Studios for our twice weekly news break show. We have had a time shift, so we're now doing 3 p.m. for our live shows. But certainly, if that time doesn't work out for you, you can see this on demand on Facebook, YouTube, or WeBelieveDigital.com anytime you'd like. Just jump in there and click on either the live shows or the video link, either one, and it'll bring you to the news break and all our other programming. So we've got about 14 stories to share with you this afternoon. My name is Chris Young. We'll get started on the local level. I think sad news for most, good news for some. But Mississippi Today reporting that the Federal Appeals Court is allowing the separate court system to be created in Jackson in Hinds County, paving the way for state officials to appoint, not elect, to appoint a judge and prosecutors to the new court. The Capitol Complex Improvement District Court is now live, several days after it was initially meant to go into effect. Its start date had been delayed by a temporary administrative stay granted by a panel of the Fifth Circuit, and we've been telling you about that. But on Thursday, the court vacated the stay that they had put in place. In the lawsuit brought by the NAACP on behalf of several Jackson residents, the plaintiffs asked for an injunction to stop the court appointments and creation of the court, but U.S. District Judge Henry Wingate denied it. The same day, December 31st, the plaintiffs appealed to the Fifth Circuit. And the comment that comes out of the Fifth Circuit about all this and really bears a deeper understanding, they say nothing has been taken away from Jackson's local governing authority. Nothing has been taken away from Jackson's local governing authority. And I don't know if that's true or if that's even the point here. So we're going to be hearing more about that. The NAACP is not done with this. They're going to keep going on our behalf, but that's what they wrote in the final order, and that nothing in the argument that was made was not based in fact. And so who knows where we're going with this, but we'll learn more as we go along. A lot of people have viewed this as a Trojan horse coming into Jackson. You know, you now have a white-operated police force patrolling the streets, of Jackson. Well, Jackson already got a police department. So, and now you have a court system. And the people that decide who to judge and the prosecutors are going to be our white people in a black city. Trojan horse. I don't think it's a good day for us today. But we'll have to see. I don't think it's everything is just going to be settled just yet. Moving on to the broader story in Mississippi, today is just another day when the Republican majority legislators, not one of them, has held any kind of a hearing on the TANF scandal, the horribly sinful misspending, stealing, pilfering of tens of millions. I mean, anywhere from 74 million to 100 million. I've seen different reports on of money that was earmarked by the federal government, which they do in every state, but Mississippi, the poorest of the states, and these people take money and that's earmarked for poor people and they use it for their own selves. They all call themselves Christians, while you have poor people suffering in this state beyond description. And yet you want to take money for Governor Reeves, you want to take money for a fitness boot camp to keep yourself in shape, $1.3 million, you and probably some of your buddies, to stay in shape. Sinful behavior. And somebody, they sent these wrestler DiBiase family, something, to Malibu, California, West Coast, high-end, $40,000 a month rehab. First-class plane tickets. Come on now. They got nothing to do with poor people. You got the Brett Favre thing with the volleyball stadium. Got all these text messages, all sorts of evidence that everybody knew what was going on with this money being taken from poor people so he can get a new volleyball stadium put in at his alma mater. Come on now, people. This is sinful behavior. You got to call it for what it is. But they don't want to hold any hearings. They'll just let the legal process. And let me say a little bit more about the legal process. You know, I'm told that of the 300 employees over there at the Attorney General's office, close to 150 of them are attorneys. But yet the state of Mississippi, who's already paying for that office and all those attorneys, taxpayers are already paying that, then they go out and hire special counsel, separate counsel, to represent the state in this matter. A company called law firm Jones Day, I believe it's called. And you know what their hourly rates are going to be. So the taxpayers are paying twice. So why are we paying for attorneys, but then passing the buck to pay for more attorneys? Taxpayer paying the whole bill on that. And people wonder why Mississippi is backwards. Well, don't wonder too long. In Beaumont, Mississippi, a sheriff's deputy was shot and killed during a traffic stop by a suspect who was killed by police following a car chase. We've never heard that story, have we? George County Deputy Jeremy Malone was killed after he stopped a vehicle about 5:15 p.m. on Route 98 in Rocky Creek, George County. Sheriff Mitchell Mixon said in a statement. Malone was the largely rural county's second emergency responder killed over the past week following the death of a medical technician in a roadside accident in nearby Alabama. So traffic stops that end up somehow, some way escalating and turn into people dying. Last night at Johnny T's Bistro and Grill down on Fair Street, what a joyous night going on. A celebration put on by the Democratic Party, by Senator Derek Simmons, by Representative Robert Johnson III. A celebration put on to celebrate our wins. We have no African-American statewide elected officials. We have plenty of district representation. And now we have a broader central district representation with Willie Simmons being reelected Central District Transportation Commissioner and DeKeither Stamps beating out, what's that fella's name, for Central, the white Republican. DeKeither Stamps beating him out by several hundred votes to become the Central District Public Service Commissioner. So a grand celebration of that going on last night, Johnny T's. It was a great time. We heard from Ty Pickens. We heard from Christopher Bell, a Democratic caucus chair. Heard from the Democratic Party Chairman Shake Taylor. Heard from the Democratic Party Executive Director Andre Wagner. Heard from Jacqueline Amos, playing a large role in the Mississippi Democratic Party. It was a really beautiful night over there at Johnny T's, celebrating those two wins. Last story on the Mississippi front. Willie Jerome Manning. Willie Jerome Manning was convicted of capital murder and on death row for more than half his life. He's always maintained his innocence. Prosecutors in, I think that's spelled wrong, but this northern county said Manning robbed, shot, and killed 2 MSU students in Starkville in 1993, and after a jury agreed, he was sentenced to death for the crimes. But now, nearly 30 years later, he's filed a petition asking the state Supreme Court to reconsider evidence in his case before allowing an execution date to be set. The director of the Mississippi Office of Capital Post-Conviction Counsel has worked with Manning and his private attorney to request the state review both evidence and testimony used to convict him, arguing that both have since been proven to be unreliable. But only 9 days after the state Supreme Court did grant an extension for his petition to be considered, the Office of Attorney General Lynn Fitch filed a motion to proceed with setting an execution date. So they're dead set on that. It's not done. It's not just done yet, but we want to make sure we keep you aware of that and look forward to Attorney Chrissy Nobile, the director of the Mississippi Office of Capital Post-Conviction Counsel, to maybe being a guest on the Sizzling in Mississippi show on this platform, Monday nights, 6:30. Maybe her and her co-counsel or her and a staff member could join us. We've been in communication with them, and hopefully we can make that happen in the very near future. So I got a couple of minutes to go before we cut out for a break, and I'll just go through this one story, and then we'll take our break. So at the national level, talking about this storm, this northeaster storm, more than 30 million people are under winter alerts as the Northeast braces for its first major winter storm of the season. Snow, ice, gusty winds will make for hazardous conditions this weekend from the mid-Atlantic up through New England. So they say by Friday night the storm will turn north and then zip up the East Coast on Saturday, bringing freezing rain, snow, and sleet to the Appalachians. Widespread ice accumulation from starting at 0.01 of an inch, likely to go to a quarter of an inch, probably in the Roanoke Valley and extending into North Carolina. Snow and sleet accumulation of 1 or 2 inches expected in the regions as well. Cities and towns along Interstate 81 in Virginia, such as Blacksburg, Roanoke, and Harrisonburg, run the greatest risk of experiencing icy conditions. Black ice, power outages, traffic pileups could become a problem as the ice accumulates. So it really didn't have much of a winter last year, so this has been the first real storm in a while. It's definitely heading in, and sometimes they exceed expectations, sometimes not, but we'll see how that goes and hope everybody up there stays safe. I think this little bits of rain that we're getting here in Jackson today is just the outside edges of that storm. So let's go ahead and dip out for a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back with you.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, students or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
And welcome back to We Believe Digital Studios for our Newsbreak show. Just picking up on some national headlines derived from lots of different sources. But breaking news earlier today, New York Attorney General Letitia James calling for a $370 million fine against the former president, Donald Trump, and his companies, and a lifetime ban for him and two of his former company executives from the real estate industry in the state. So this is post-conviction requests. This punishment in post-conviction motions. You know, the judge in this fraud case has really already indicated that the fraud exists. It's just a matter of hammering out what the punishment ought to be. But James's team said that Trump owes $168 million of interest allegedly saved through fraud. $152 million from the sale of the old post office building in Washington, the site of one of his hotels. $60 million through the transfer of the Ferry Point golf course contract. $2.5 million from severance agreements for former Trump Organization Chief Financial Officer Alan Howard Weisselberg and ex-Trump Organization Controller Jeff McConney. James also called for lifetime bans for Trump, Weisselberg, and McConney from participating in the real estate industry, as well as from serving as officers or directors in New York corporations or entities. The Attorney General also asked for 5-year bans for Trump's eldest sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, with the same conditions. So, not sure when we can expect a decision on this, but this has been going on for some time. Again, the judge, whose name I don't have in front of me, has already indicated that the fraud definitely exists. It's just about figuring out how much, what the conditions of the punishment are going to be. You know, sadly, yesterday at Perry High School in Iowa, Perry High School principal Dan Marburger tried to calm down the shooter and, quote, distract him so students could flee, according to a Facebook post from his daughter, who said he was stable after getting shot. The principal got shot. He was one of 5 people injured yesterday when the 17-year-old student at Perry High School in Iowa opened fire. A 6th grade student at the middle school, which is connected to the high school, was killed. 6th grade was killed. Police have released the names of the victim, have not released the names of the victim. The gunman they identified as Dylan Butler died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Perry High School in Iowa. Iowa, not New York City or Miami or Chicago, Iowa. A former Colorado police officer convicted of killing black pedestrian Elijah McClain is set to face a judge on Friday afternoon, this afternoon, to learn if he's going to prison. It's been nearly 3 months since an Adams County jury found Randy Rodema, guilty of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault stemming from the deadly August 24th, 2019 encounter in Aurora, Colorado. That panel had considered a more serious charge of reckless manslaughter against Rodema before opting for the lesser felony, which could still land him in prison for up to 6 years. The former officer could also walk free on probation. He's scheduled to appear before the Adams County District Court Judge Mark Warner at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time today. So maybe that news is already out, or at least the case was heard today. We'll see if we get the decision. You'll remember McLean, 23 years old, was walking home in the Denver suburb over 4 years ago when the police stopped him for wearing a ski mask and allegedly looking suspicious. When police told McLean to stop, he told them that he was an introvert and asked them to please respect my boundaries. I'm not bothering anyone. I'm not speaking to anyone. McLean was eventually wrestled to the ground. Because when you're an innocent person doing nothing, you get wrestled to the ground, handcuffed, and injected with the sedative ketamine. He died at the hospital 6 days later from ketamine toxicity. An autopsy found the 5'7", 140-pound McLean was given an amount of ketamine appropriate for a 190-pound man, according to an independent probe commissioned by the city of Aurora. Florida man who fled after being convicted in a January 6th case, triggering a 6-week manhunt, was sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday, federal prosecutors said. This guy's name is Christopher Worrell, 52 years old, from Florida, arrested at his home in Naples, Florida, on September 28th, a little more than 6 weeks after he cut off his ankle monitor. White man cut off his ankle monitor 4 days before his sentencing date and disappeared. So he appeared at the Capitol, did all kinds of deeds, but when it came to his sentencing, he didn't want to appear. He cut off his ankle monitor and took off. Took him 6 weeks to find him. And a judge in Washington has convicted him in May on charges connected with the assault on police during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Now remember, we just told you the story of Elijah McClain. Elijah McClain was assaulted by police. This guy here, Christopher Worrell, he assaulted police. He's alive, but going to jail for 10 years. Elijah McClain, 23, didn't do nothing but walk down the street with a ski mask on, is dead. Worrell was arrested, quote, when he attempted to covertly return to his home. The FBI field officer, they had his home staked out, you know. Who had gone to Washington with other members of the Proud Boys. Real proud. Proud Boys spraying an irritating pepper gel at Capitol Police officers as the pro-Trump mob attacked the police that day. After another Proud Boy member assaulted police defending a stairwell and the mob overwhelmed the police line, Worrell recorded himself on video saying, "Yeah, taking the Capitol." So, big man. As we push out for the last, there's one more story here. So an unarmed but unmanned surface vessel launched from Houthi-controlled Yemen got within a couple of miles of a U.S. Navy and commercial vessels in the Red Sea yesterday before detonating. This was just hours after the White House and a host of partner nations issued a final warning to the Iran-backed militia group to cease the attacks or face potential military action. Those partner nations are Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, New Zealand, Singapore, and the United Kingdom. So far, 1,500 commercial ships have been able to transit safely since this operation launched on December 18th. On the Russian-Ukraine front, Wednesday, they had a big prisoner exchange. The war's still going on. It's more chaotic than it's been in some respects, but it brought the biggest single release of captives since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Ukraine authorities said 230 Ukrainian prisoners returned home in the first exchange in almost 5 months. Russia's defense ministry said 248 Russian servicemen had been freed under the deal, which was sponsored by the United Arab Emirates. The UAE's foreign ministry attributed the successful swap to the strong friendly relations between the UAE and both the Russian Federation and the Republic of Ukraine, which were supported by sustained calls at the highest level. And also, with that Russian-Ukraine war, NATO announced Wednesday that it would help member nations buy up to 1,000 surface-to-air Patriot-guided missiles in a deal possibly costing $5.5 billion to allow members to send more of their own defense systems to Ukraine. And lastly, on the Israeli-Hamas war, from the What We Know section by NBC News, Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Istanbul, first stop in a trip which he will grapple with growing pressure for Israel to ease the assault in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military estimates had killed 8,000 to 9,000 Hamas fighters, and then more than 22,500 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. More than 57,000 have been injured, and thousands more are missing or presumed dead. Israeli military officials say at least 170 soldiers have been killed and 240 hostages taken. Now, some of those were returned, but not nearly the full amount. So that's it for today with the Newsbreak program. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back with you this coming Wednesday, no doubt, with so many more stories to update you on and keep you posted. Hope you have a good weekend and take good care of yourselves and each other.